So you want to sell your property, but it's tenanted? In this video, I'm going to share with you steps to take to sell a tenanted property. If we haven't met before, my name is Layla and I'm a realtor based out of Mississauga, Ontario, and I have a passion for helping people buy and sell real estate. And I endeavor to simplify real estate right here for you every Thursday. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. A quick disclaimer, I'm not a paralegal or a lawyer, and this is in no shape or form legal advice. I'm merely sharing information with you as a realtor based on my own experience and what is my understanding of the landlord and tenant board rules. However, if you do find yourself in a sticky situation, make sure to consult a paralegal who specializes in landlord and tenant disputes, or you can call the Ontario Landlord and Tenant Board yourself. I'll post their phone number in the description below. Now let's get to it. Now you want to sell your property that is tenanted. If you have a 1-year lease with the current tenants and you are within the 1-year time frame, technically you cannot break it. So for example, if your tenant signed a 1-year lease with you in January, you cannot sell it in October of the same year because that would be only 10 months in. According to the Landlord and Tenant Board, you have to wait until the full 1-year lease is up. Now that being said, this also does depend on the type of tenant you have. I've seen tenants be extremely cooperative and accommodating, especially if you offer compensations such as 1 or 2 months of rent or paying for moving costs. It's up to you what you want to offer, see if you can make a deal. On the contrary, I have had my fair share of experiences with extremely difficult tenants as well. So you can always try to have a chat with them and see how they respond if you are very motivated to sell. However, you will likely have to offer something to help move things in your favor. In the case that they do agree to move, make sure to get the N11 signed. This is basically a mutual agreement to end the tenancy, all right? The other option that exists is getting the N9 signed, which is a notice from the tenant to the landlord to end the tenancy. I've spoken to paralegals and they say the N9 is stronger because it's from the tenant and it holds up better in disputes. Both parties need to sign. Once this is signed, you can apply to the Landlord and Tenant Board to have them evicted. You can actually file this as soon as you guys sign. You don't have to wait till the day that they're supposed to leave. That way you're in the queue from the get-go. So the scenario I just explained is if your 1-year lease is not up. Now let's discuss what happens if your tenants have been there for 15 months. So let's say you signed a 1-year lease. After the 12 months, the lease would automatically go month to month. However, they would still have a right to continue living there. Now, again, if you want to sell your property while it is vacant because, you might want to stage it or do some renovations, you will need to approach your tenants and see if they're willing to move. You can offer incentives and again, make sure to get the N9 or the N11 signed. The minimum notice that you need to give them is 60 days in either scenario. In the case that your tenants say, no, we will not move because they have a right to say no, your other option would be to list it while they're in possession of the property. Now, I know this isn't ideal, but it is what it is, and it's important to be informed at the end of the day. So the way this would play out is that you would list the property with the tenants in it. They have a right to request 24-hour notice for showings. However, if they choose to be more flexible, then that's great. Once you have a signed agreement of purchase and sale, meaning you found a buyer and you have all the paperwork done, you can then give them 60 days notice from that point on. So make sure to have the closing date aligned with the required notice for the tenants. I would actually give it an extra week or so for the closing date, just in case there are any issues or any type of cleanup that you need to do prior to the closing. The form that you serve your tenants upon the agreement of purchase and sale being signed is N12. This is a notice to end the tenancy because the landlord, purchaser, or family requires the unit. You're also required to provide the tenants an amount that is equal to 1 month's rent by the termination date in the notice, or offer another rental unit that is acceptable to them for 1 month. Just remember that the only catch is that the purchaser or the immediate family or caregiver of the purchaser would need to be the ones that would be living there for a minimum of 1 year. If I was you, I would get in the queue for the LTB to have them evicted. All right, file right away as soon as you guys get the N12 signed. Don't wait until the last minute to file it. Keep in mind, the purchaser will need to sign an affidavit stating that they are in fact taking possessions themselves or one of the allowed personnel is taking possession. Without this, it would be very difficult to evict the tenants, so you'll pretty much be right back to square one. I will post a link below for the Landlord and Tenant Board filing portal. You might be wondering why a tenant wouldn't want to leave. Some of the reasons a tenant might not want to move is that the property is in a desired location, maybe near their work or family, or that the rent is lower than the market right now and they want to stay obviously because the rent is cheaper. If the purchaser of the property is intending to keep it as a rental property, they would then need to assume the current tenants at the current rental amount that the tenant is paying, only increasing what the annual rental increase allowance is. So if it's 1% this year, then it would be 1%. Okay, so you went ahead and you sold this property, all right? You've got an agreement in purchase and sale signed. You will likely have a clause in that agreement that states that you need to provide vacant possession to the purchaser on the closing day. In the worst case scenario, the tenants become super evil and they don't move out on the date they are supposed to move. You will need to have them evicted by filing a case at the Landlord and Tenant Board. This can, however, take months and it can get messy, especially if you would be unable to provide vacant possession to the purchaser and then you are in breach of contract with the purchaser and then it goes on and on. So try your best to work things out in a clean way and feel out the vibe of your tenants and really try to work with them. You'll have a pretty good sense if they're willing to cooperate or will be tough to deal with almost immediately, I would say. Trust your intuition. Either way, always be calm, always be polite, and try to make a deal that they would likely accept. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps it up. Hopefully I haven't scared you all too much. While I have dealt with some very difficult tenants, I would say most people are good, so don't sweat it too much. Thanks for watching, and if this video was helpful to you, like and comment. It keeps me motivated to make more videos for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Until next Thursday, thanks for watching guys. Take care.